Department to reject the sovereign lands construction permit for the pipeline project, which proposes crossing the sections that have been identified already.
Nobody can hear now.
Louder!
I can talk louder.
Louder!
A spiller leak would be an environmental disaster, oil fouling the land on the Nelson tract for decades to come. There's no way of telling how long it would take to detect a leak, with the oil spreading rapidly down the river corridor, through the water, and along the banks. Aquatic wildlife and vegetation would be choked lifeless as it spread, with staggering cleanup and replacement costs. My second objection is
standard procedure.
prompted by the
Peter
project's
Clay,
applications
you're
and
gonna
own
be at
words on page 6, block 8 of the attachment of the joint application form. Oil would be transported to further our country's goal of energy independence. Up to 570,000 barrels daily of dirty crude would extend our pitiful dependence on carbon-based fuels, a crutch shown to drive climate change. Fossil fuels are the major cause of increased carbon pollution, who otherwise is just kicking the can down the road, leaving the problem of climate change and too much carbon in the air to our grandchildren.
Chris Wells, you're at table A.
What's there is an important nesting ground for many kinds of birds. It is an important resource for neotropical migrants.
That's what the DNR guy said.
And although parts of it were raised,
Chris Wells, table A.
the purchase of special funds to increase and maintain the biodiversity of bird species, diversity of avifauna in our state. What species of resident, American woodcock, bald eagle, yellow-billed cuckoo, many others, including wild turkeys. There's recreational value there, hunting for deer, hunting for turkey. The habitat is classified as prairie, remnant, and open abandonment. The DNR has done an excellent job actively restoring this prairie remnant to a thriving short or tall grass prairie that will provide expanded and enhanced habitat to the species I listed and many others, including some that are either national or state endangered. A crude oil spill in this very special wildlife management area would be catastrophic, and it would undo the years of careful restoration that is already underway, and which must be held in trust for all of us here today and for future generations of Iowans. Pipeline spill. If the DNR issues a permit for the 4 sovereign lands that the proposed pipeline would cross, it is placing in severe jeopardy a sacred trust to the people of our state. I strongly oppose the issuing of a permit for the Bakken oil pipeline to cross our precious sovereign land.
Speaking against the
White
permit,
Vulcan, table B.
I would like to point out that
Big letter, Chris.
at the Big Sioux River Wildlife Management Area, they're indicating there'll be a 30-foot wide treeless area over the right-of-way. This is not acceptable. We don't have enough trees as it is in Iowa. I would like to point out that this process is inadequate.
That's right.
That's right.
We have one person,
Right.
the director of the DNR, making this decision for the whole state. That's ridiculous. I think it would be appropriate for the DNR to throw this back to the legislature. Because the permit says nothing about CO2 emissions, and this pipeline is going to feed the boom in the Bakken oil field. It's a responsibility. The DNR focuses on energy. They have energy department. They give awards for people who are able to reduce their CO2 emissions. It's crazy for the DNR to permit such a pipeline across Iowa.
Good job. Jack Stroger, please go to table A. There is a point made up here that we should probably try to clarify. We are taking these comments. We are preparing a transcript of all of these comments that will be available. That's why we're trying to get them recorded. We knew we were going to have a lot of people here tonight, so we're trying to get the comments recorded, we'll provide them.
There's
so
press here to cover this story. They can't hear both speakers at one time.
They will be provided the transcripts.
We
once
want
we
to
have them.
hear the speakers.
You are free to go outside and have the conversation.
To come and talk, let them talk.
Please,
Public
Eric
hearing, let 'em
Lesher,
talk.
to table B, please.
Speak up, Jack.
One at a time. Oh, wait, we've got all the time in the world, we want to hear everybody. We can wait. We
Right.
want to hear what everyone has to say. That's right.
Right.
That's obviously not.
I'm Jack Troger from Ames, a retired earth science teacher, 1009 16th Street. Kelsey Warren's Bakken pipeline is unwarranted, especially in Iowa's sovereign land areas. My perspective, I'm a terrorist, and I believe in terrorism. Let me spell it out for you. Terrorist, T-E-R-R-A-I-S-T. Terrorism, T-E-R-R-A-I-S-M. Terra, Latin for earth. Terrorism defined. Earth first in things, thoughts, deeds, decisions. In making their decisions regarding these permits to these DNR, the DNR must consider earth first, not last. Kelsey Warren is not a terrorist. His capitalist philosophy is organized thievery for profit at the expense of earth.
That's right.
Manifest destiny at terminal velocity. Terminal velocity. I'm trained to be a geologist, but I chose to use my geological knowledge to serve Earth, not pillage and plunder her, and certainly not for Kelsey's corporate greed. The Lorax spoke for the trees. I speak for Earth and all species. All pipelines leak. I'm a geologist, I know this. Warrens will too. Iowa, especially in Iowa's sovereign lands, is already the most environmentally altered state in America. The Big Sioux River, the Big Sioux Wildlife Management Area, the Des Moines River, the Mississippi River are extremely vulnerable areas, especially to drilling, boring, scraping, ruining the land. The Bakken oil field is dying. I'm a geologist. Drilling rigs are leaving North Dakota faster than they arrived. Crude's at $36 a barrel today. Fracked wells are often depleted in a few years. Why build a pipeline to an oil field soon to be abandoned? It's the DNR's mission has a lot of fine words in it, but not one word about business and corporations. It's about people. Read the mission.
Thank you for the 3-minute comments.
Thank you.
Feel free if you have additional.
Wally, Taylor to table A, Hannah Taylor to table B, please.
We're not. That's important that you appreciate you coming to the comments.
The speaker is there. Please state your name and address before your comment. Thank you.
I'm Wally Taylor. I'm the chair of the Iowa chapter of the Sierra Club. The Dakota Access pipeline is one of the largest and most devastating projects ever inflicted on the state of Iowa. As you heard, Chapter 13 of the DNR regulations say sovereign lands are held in public trust and should be protected in the interests of all citizens in those lands and waters. With respect to the sovereign lands, the testimony at the Iowa Utilities Board hearing revealed that the floodplain forests next to the rivers will be cleared of a 30 to 50 foot wide swath where all the trees will be permanently removed. And the only plan for the follow-up is natural succession. But that strip will be bare forever. That will cause fragmentation that is impactful to wildlife. Wildlife need a constant corridor. There have been no studies that I've seen in the DNR records concerning the impact on the rivers, the Big Sioux, the Des Moines, and the Mississippi. There's been a survey of sorts for the Big Sioux wildlife area, but that study doesn't say when the study was done exactly, how it was done, what the survey actually entailed. The DNR needs to have more information than that before it grants a permit. The report that Dakota Access filed says that there are a number of plant species that will be impacted, a number of butterfly species, and in fact it says that concerning the butterflies, they didn't find any there the day they were out there, but through minimizing the workspace necessary to install the proposed pipeline, in addition to restoration of vegetation following construction, no long-term effects of this species is anticipated. Furthermore, any butterflies that do occur within the project vicinity at this location could temporarily utilize adjacent habitats during construction. Tell that to the butterflies. There was also testimony at the IUB proceeding by a witness who was an expert in endangered species who testified for the Office of Consumer Advocate.
To table B, please.
And he said there are many federally endangered and state threatened and endangered species along the route. And there's been no survey for those species.
Thank you for your 3 minutes. Thank you.
Keith Reiner to table A, please.
I'm Carolyn Raffensperger. I live in Ames, Iowa. I am representing future generations before you today.
Keith Reiner to table A, please.
The DNR rejects this permit because it stands for the public trust. It stands for the public trust not only for present generations, but for future generations. The public trust means that it is responsible for the well-being of the common wealth that we share.
Last call,
and
Keith
the
Reiner.
particular things that we have. The responsibility that I hold is to give or withhold my free prior
Ed Weinerstein to
consent,
table A, please.
which is the basis of government. Without my free prior and informed consent, government has no legitimacy. I do not give my consent to Dakota Access destroying this land, destroying the options of future generations.
My name is Ed Wiederstein. My address is 1601 150th Street,
Mark
Ottawa.
Hauser, table B, please.
As the Iowa DNR undertakes the next step of the review process for the Dakota Access
Hauser.
Pipeline, we urge the department to take all relevant facts into account and recognize the comprehensive effort the developers of this project have undertaken to ensure the safety of Iowa and its people, from conducting surveys to drafting detailed agricultural mitigation plan to exceeding state and federal safety and environmental protection standards. All measures have been taken to ensure the Dakota Access Pipeline will benefit Iowa and those who live here. Dakota Access has committed to construct this $3.7 billion energy infrastructure using the most up-to-date technology and safety features available. It is in the best interest of the company to ensure this pipeline is operated safely and correctly. We encourage the DNR to approve the 4 segments under their jurisdiction.
Mark Franz, table A, please.
The speaker is on top there. Please state your name and address first.
My name is Mark from
James Romanko, table B, please.
My address is W534 Road Lane, WE in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. I'm speaking in support of Iowa, and I'm going to hopefully lay some of the figures associated with the directional crossings of these rivers. I know for a fact that ETC is using a stronger pipe that has been used ever in this country, and specifically for the drills, basically reduce the risk of any kind of recontaminate the river. And I know that the contractors going through Iowa are the only ones in the country that have a middle management environmental manager who provides oversight to environmental managers in the field and construction crews who are dedicated to maintaining compliance. Regarding the Nelson Tract, approximately, actually less than 1 acre of trees are going to be cleared. The path chosen through the Nelson Tract with the WMA is the path of least resistance to trees. Only the permanent easement is going to have trees that will not be planted. The temporary workspace will be vegetate naturally. And I'm here to say with more diversity. My background is I'm a biologist, I'm a wetlands biologist. Thank you.
Bob Osborne, table A, please.
The company's commitment to ensuring projects is done correctly by hiring skilled labor who shows to me consistent commitment to our state that they want the project to succeed and done correctly. I asked DNR to look at all the facts.
Hi.
How does this work?
There's a speaker.
Kevin Olson, table B. Kevin Olson.
Bob Osborne, Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Address. I asked
Kevin
the
Olson,
DNR
last
to
call,
support the
table
pipeline
B.
process. The regulatory process that owner companies go through is very thorough. All the contractors that work on the pipelines all have to be trained and qualified to meet all the environmental requirements of the pipeline. Horizontal directional drilling was put into place to protect the environment many years ago. All these lands have been previously successfully crossed and monitored and maintained by owner companies over the years. As a contractor, all employees are trained to manage the permit and all the requirements of the permit. All our employees are also local Iowa employees that are given to us by the local unions. They're all union trained labor provided, a lot of local presence within on the pipeline. The bottom line, all contractors, constructions, union laborers, and owner companies take pride in the reputation for quality work, performed safely and with care for the environment. Thank you.
Chad Carter, table A. Ross Walsh, table B.
Hi there. The speaker is on top. Please state your name and your address before your 3-minute comment.
Chad Carter, 4220 East Madison, Des Moines, Iowa. I am here today to speak on behalf for the Dakota Access Pipeline, an important project that will create jobs, supply Americans with domesticated produce, energy, and be built to best-in-class standards that protect the environment and local communities. This pipeline is about transporting American oil for American needs. Currently, millions of barrels are being transported daily across Iowa farmlands, utilizing rail and trucks. Pipelines are proven to be a much safer method, and they leave the smallest footprint in our environment. There are pipelines currently used all over our state, and they function with no problems and no public awareness that the pipelines are even there. The DNR should approve the pipeline to cross state lands, because I know they will do their job right and protect the environment.
Thank you for your comments, sir.
And look at my stuff.
Jordan Kopp, please go to table A.
Jordan Kopp. Got it, thank you.
The speaker's on top. I'll let
Ryan
you hold
Hollenreich,
this.
table B,
Please state your
please.
name and your address before your 3-minute comment.
Jordan Cup, 705 6th Street, Dunedin. As an operator and a farmer, and I value the land I work on, and resist ever working on a project that would bring irreversible harm to it. I support the Dakota Access pipeline because it is an important investment in our state, but also because it will be built to minimize environmental impacts and protect our land. Dakota Access has put together a comprehensive mitigation plan that promises to avoid sensitive areas and fully restore the land in the project process. I ask that the DNR approve the permit for this important project.
Thank you for your comment.
Philip Wallace, table A.
Within the state of Iowa.
Philip Wallace, table A.
I'm also appalled by some of the antics and disrespect that's being shown to the Department of Natural Resources this evening. You need to respect their agenda, the way they're doing things, and structuring this
The
conference.
speaker's on top. I'll let you hold it. Please state your name and address before your 3-minute comment.
Okay, my name is Philip Wallace. My address is 726 Honeysuckle Road in Baltimore, Arkansas. And I'm not an Iowa resident, but I am the representative for all the Iowa welders and welder helpers and journeymen, pipe fitters that will be working on this job when it is permitted.
30 seconds
And I've been in the pipeline welding business for 40 years. And all the way from Trans-Alaska Pipeline to the oil fields of Venezuela. And I am the business agent for local. Oklahoma that covers the states of Iowa, South Dakota, North Dakota, that the Dakota Access pipeline goes through. And,
thousands of people across this great state of
I can't
Iowa
even
support this project but can't be here tonight. On their behalf, I ask and I urge, grant this permit.
Jerry Ryan, table A.
You also don't have the ability to do a written comment if that's
Well, I've been to all of these. I was on the whole 2 weeks in Boone here recently, but the environmental sensitive areas, the DNR areas, we're very sensitive to that too. We're environmentalists. We don't want to tear anything up. These river crossings, they will be put in by directional drills. That's what we do. We weld it together. The wells are on 100% X-ray. The pipeline will be hydrostatic tested to 1.5 times operating pressure after it is completed. We won't put this oil in Tioga, North Dakota. We won't take it out in Patoka, Illinois. Everybody wants to. Pipelines are the devil. This country needs pipelines. It's either going to be pushed by a pipeline or it's going to be hauled on rail or car. Now, what's the safest? There's going to be train wrecks, there's going to be truck wrecks, spills. The spills that we're fighting right now, but the Kalamazoo River spill, everybody wants to talk about, the Mayflower, Arkansas spill, the Yellowstone River spill. These pipelines are 50,
James
60 years
Edmondson,
old. They
table
were
B,
built
please.
without any rules. We have strenuous, the PHMSA, DOT, state regulations that we call. These old pipelines that are leaking. They're not maintained. So I'm coming up to the end of mine. Thank you for having this.
Ross Gruters, table A, please.
Thank you for your 3-minute comment.
Philip, LLIP, Wallace, WALLACE. I'm from Arkansas.
Are you next for table A?
I'll wait till he's done.
Sir, we have our next commenter here ready. Thank you.
I'm on the business side.
The speaker will be recording you from the top there. Please state your name and your address before your 3-minute comment. Okay? We have a timer here for you if you want to check it. We'll let you know though.
Ross Cooters, Copperwind Port, 2010, Pleasant Hill, Iowa. My name's Ross Cooters, and I'm here with the No Bakken Pipeline Coalition, as well as Iowa Citizens for Community Improvement. We've been fighting for clean water in Iowa for a long time, and the DNR hasn't lived up to their responsibility to provide Iowans with clean water. It's not time to exacerbate the problem by adding a pipeline complication
Eric Schmidt,
to the
table
issue.
B, please.
In 2014, Des Moines Register columnist Bill Petrosky published an article highlighting about 100 pipeline leaks in recent years. Now, those were mainly propane and anhydrous leaks, but the reason for that is there are no operational crude oil pipelines in Iowa. They don't exist. A project of this magnitude hasn't been done in Iowa. Unfortunately, there has been an oil pipeline in Iowa before. And unfortunately, just southeast of Des Moines, that oil pipeline leaked in January of 1982. Do we need to welcome more oil spills into our environment? No. That's right, we don't. It is time for the DNR to ask themselves who they're representing and serving. Are they representing an out-of-state corporation for profits? Are they representing Terry Branstad and his billionaire buddies' agenda, corporate agenda? Or are they representing Iowa resources? Are they representing the people of Iowa? It's time to ask yourself, Chuck, who do you serve? Terry Branstad's corporate, for-profit agenda or the people of Iowa? You need to step up and reject this permit.
Bonnie Pitts, table A. Bonnie Pitts.
The speaker that will record you is on top here. Please state your name and your address before your 3-minute comment. Thank you.
Okay. I'm Bonnie Pitts, co-president of the League of Women Voters of Iowa. I own property in Jasper County. I live in Bell Plain, Iowa, 1516 7th Avenue. The League of Women Voters of the United States believes that natural resources should be managed as interrelated parts of life-supporting ecosystems. Resources should be conserved and protected to assure their future availability. Pollution of resources should be controlled in order to preserve the physical, chemical, and biological integrity of ecosystems and to protect public health. The League has been in the forefront of the environmental protection movement, helping to frame landmark legislation in air and water quality. The League has declared opposition to the Keystone XL pipeline because of the need to put the U.S. on a path of emission reductions, to protect against climate change, and to ensure safe drinking water for all Americans. An oil spill north of Boone at the crossing of the Des Moines River, proposed by Dakota Access, could have dire consequences for the water supply of Boone and Des Moines. It also would impact small towns and rural users, all or portions of 11 counties and 14 communities. The League position on water includes stringent controls to protect the quality of current and potential water supplies, including protection of watersheds for surface supplies and recharge areas for groundwater. The League position on land is to support management of land as a finite resource, not as a commodity, since land ownership, whether public or private, carries responsibility for stewardship. The League of Women Voters of Iowa asked the DNR to deny the permit for Dakota Access.
Thank you.
Sister Jeannie Hager, to table A, please. Sister Jeannie Haggard. Doris Colville, table B, please.
The speaker that will record you is on top here. Please state your name and your address before your 3-minute comment. Thank you.
Sister Jeannie Hagedorn, Des Moines, Iowa, and I am strongly opposed to the Bakken pipeline. Our God gave us this good earth, this clean water, and God expects us to be good stewards of our earth and our water. I have to give credit to the Bakken, or to the Dakota Access company. They have succeeded in dividing our people. They have pit our unions and our hard workers against our people who care about our earth. They are offering the propaganda that this pipeline will bring new, good paying jobs to our workers. They are not telling you that they are temporary jobs, many of them from out of state, not for our Iowans. That is an untruth. And we need to protect our workers, yes. We also need to protect our earth for future generations. I urge the DNR to oppose the building of the Bakken pipeline.
Thank you very much.
Stand private, table A, please. Dan Private. Okay, got it. Okay. Nick Private.
Hi there. The speaker's on top. Please state your name and your address before your 3-minute comment.
Okay.
Thank you.
My name's Dan Primick, 1424 Willow Court, Cumming, Iowa. I'm here to support the pipeline. One, I'm a 32-year union member. I know what kind of training all of the crafts that are going to work on this project have had. It's the best quality training. Our members will put this pipeline in the ground in the safest manner. Not only that, but I'm a 35-year member, or 35-year duck hunter. I use the land, I hunt on it, I own some land, and you know, I've seen how our members put the pipelines in the ground, and they do it in such a safe manner. I've hunted over some of the ground where pipelines are running across waterways. There's no indication that they leak, and I feel confident that
Tom Primick.
I feel very confident that the
Nobody else can hear when you're making a noise, really can rack it either.
I feel very confident that when our members put this pipe in the ground, it is safe for generations to come, as the pipe that our members have put in the past. So with that, I urge the DNR to support this project and to allow the permits. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
David Drake, table A, please.
I'm going to stand up for just a minute. I'm David
Sir.
Drake. I'm an Iowa physician involved with physicians' social responsibilities. And just a preface, I know we have lots of union members here, and we need to support them. I also want to say that I think we can do that by alternative energy. We need to move away from oil. We need to move to solar energy, geothermal energy, and certainly wind power, and we can do that. We need to support the men and women, though, in the trades. And I hope there's not this big division between those who are for it and against it. We need to support you guys and women to do that. I'm with the Iowa Chapter of Physicians for Social Responsibility. And to begin with, in the aftermath of the Paris COP21, like all nations, the U.S. needs to rapidly pivot away from fossil fuels to increase support for clean energy alternatives. Iowa is a farm state, as you know, a leader in wind energy, does not need a new, disruptive, and potentially dangerous pipeline, which only benefit
Last call,
would be a
please,
handful
Bethany.
of short-term jobs in exchange for a number of long-term serious risks. Such a pipeline is a move backwards for
Weckman.
Iowa, the U.S., and the health of the globe as a whole. Another serious concern is Iowa's water. In an area of declining sources of fresh water around the world, Iowa cannot afford to put our water, whether surface or ground, at increasing risk. Iowans are already challenged to keep agricultural-related nitrates, coal emission-related mercury, and manure-related bacterial contaminants out of our water. In an area of increasingly unpredictable hydrologic cycles, when both extreme flooding and droughts are becoming more prevalent, these existing challenges are multiplied. Extreme events, heat and drought, or heavy downpours and flooding are increasingly likely to occur. Climate instability exacerbates land stability, and unpredicted sinkholes and subsidence occur as has been experienced elsewhere. Such phenomena further challenge the stability of pipelines. People's cars, homes, and electric lines have all been affected due to hydrologic changes, groundwater withdrawal, and extreme drought.
Carrie Carney?
A disrupted pipeline presents even greater hazard. And this was interesting. Just one drop of oil, get this, one drop of oil can make up to 6.6 gallons of water undrinkable. For future health, and again on behalf of Physicians for Social Responsibility and Iowa physicians, we must do all we can to protect our water now. Every drop counts. Last but not least, consider the matter of ethics, complicity, and liability. Due to a number of legal loopholes in both OSHA laws and arcane industrial liability indemnification settlements, no one is
All right,
responsible.
they will not let me speak inside the thing. Thank you very much. My name is Carrie Carney.
I'll sit down so she can
I
speak.
am from Norwalk, Iowa, and representing...
No one's responsible for the dangers, injuries, and liabilities involved in accessing and transporting deadly petroleum products.
Thank you for your 3
All right,
minutes.
thank you. David Drake, 1221 Center Street.
And
in
the Iowa
Thank you.
DNR needs to remember what their job is. Their job is not to create jobs for union workers. Their job is not to create billions of dollars for a company who's never done a pipeline before, who wants to use Iowa as their guinea pig experiment. Their job is to protect the natural resources, to protect our water, to protect our soil, to protect our wildlife.
I retired from the DNR.
And if they approve this permit, they are failing on all accounts.
As the trails coordinator.
The Des Moines River
And I have deep
is
concerns
already
about
very-
the Des Moines River recreational
is very
river,
polluted.
green belt.
and it's a major
that we have
drinking
signed
source
on to
for
as the
this
DNR,
area.
as the
We've
state of
already had
Iowa,
lots
with
and
the
lots
Army
of
Corps of
problems.
Engineers.
Putting it at
And
risk
we're
again
violating the
is only
agreement
going to
of the
create
vision
more
that we
problems.
had for that green belt.
Director Gibb, I'm
needs to
urging
be
you
directly
to
addressed.
say no to this permit.
And I will
Thank you.
provide written. Any written comments? Yeah, and I've got more coming. Thank you very much.
George McCloskey, table A, please.
Hi there. The speaker is on top. Please state your name, address, and your 3-minute comment.
My name is George McCloskey, 4132 Kingman Boulevard, Des Moines, Iowa. I'm an urban farmer in Des Moines. The pipeline would cross the Des Moines River. We collect our water for watering the vegetables from the Des Moines water system. They collect their water from the Des Moines River. I do not care to poison the people. More than all that, I'm here for the earth. I'm here for everyone. We cannot stand. I reject the Bakken pipeline. More than just that, it will be a depletion of the animal society. We need the butterflies to sustain life so that they can pollinate the plants so that we can stay alive. Well, this is ridiculous. Make your voices heard.
Thank you very much.
Aaron Jorgensen Briggs, table A, please.
This will record you through this up here on the top. Please state your name and your address before your 3-minute comment.
All right, my name is Aaron. Okay, I'll hold it. My name is Aaron Jorgensen. I live at 1301 8th Street in Des Moines, Iowa. I guess I first wanted to say a word about the process of this hearing. I think it's very strange that the DNR would organize this in such a way that we're required to speak simultaneously. It's not a very good forum for a public hearing, and it gives the appearance that the DNR is not really committed to a public process. If the concern is that there needs to be more time, then the comment period should be extended, more meetings should be held. But doing it simultaneously is very strange, and I feel undemocratic. So I'm here to express my opposition to the pipeline. There's very little to no public benefit to Iowans. I recognize the concerns of Iowans who are in unions who will get some jobs for a while from the construction of the pipeline. But I think that Iowa would be better served, and they would be better served, as someone previously said, by creating green energy jobs instead of jobs that are linked to fossil fuels, which are destroying the planet. Primarily, the pipeline exists to benefit an out-of-state oil company and investors in that company. This is a for-profit enterprise, and there's no reason that the DNR should give up public lands to benefit the profits of people who don't even live here and won't suffer the impacts of the pipeline when it spills, as it will. Gosh, what else do I want to say? I just want to reiterate that we need to transition away from fossil fuels, and I guess I'll finish my comment period by reading a letter to the editor in the Des Moines Register from today.
Nathan Mikowski, table B, please.
This is from Brenda Brink, a resident of Huxley, Iowa. She says, I doubt many Iowans trust Iowa Department of Natural Resources to do the right thing with their Bakken pipeline hearing on December 16th. After all, their track record in protecting our water is poor. It took years of citizen outcry and a lawsuit to even get them to sign a work plan to improve and meet the Clean Water Act. This work plan is miles from restoring public trust in DNR leadership. The DNR has designated only 4 areas of concern on the Big Sioux River, the Des Moines River, the Mississippi River, and the Nelson Tract of the Big Sioux River Complex Wildlife Management Area at the actual junctures with the pipeline route. Well, what about the fact that water flows? Spilling oil in a river goes where the river goes, across Iowa. So, unlike what DNR Director Chuck Gipp has been quoted as saying in a new newspaper, it is not a very small part of the hazardous liquid pipeline project. And I guess I'll just conclude. Unfortunately, Director Gipp is still minimizing the importance of water in Iowa. Thank you.
Thank you. I think some of you have probably seen these before. So these are oil spills
David Bowman, table A.
in different places across the country. These aren't anomalies. This is the trend. This is what happens when we build pipelines. This is on someone's farmland in North Dakota, 840,000 gallons of Bakken crude. Especially relevant is the Kalamazoo oil spill here.